What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we got another how-to video, and today's how-to is going to be on how to tune with the Futaba 10PX. We're going to be talking about throttle curve and acceleration, and I'm going to be teaching y'all what's the difference between the two and how they can help you with racing. Before we get started, I'll put right here first the Futaba manual definition, or whatever you want to call it, of what the throttle curve does, so you could pause the video and read that right here. And then now I'll put the one for the acceleration from the Futaba manual right here, and you can also pause the video again and read about what that does. So now, if you're like me, I read both of those just like you just did a bunch of times, and to me, from reading it, it really seems like they're pretty much almost the exact same from the definitions in the manual. And today I'm going to be showing y'all exactly what's different and showing y'all a little demonstration on the difference between acceleration and throttle curve and what it does, and then probably go outside with one of the bashers or something and I'll give y'all a demonstration of what it does, because of course I know you mainly use this stuff for racing, but when you got prep and you got the wheelie bar and everything that stops it from popping up and all that stuff, you kind of can't tell. It's a little harder to visually see through the camera what's going on. So I think if I show you guys with a basher car, you'll be able to see the, it wheelie and not wheelie and do all that stuff a lot easier than you would on an actual Bandit or the big drag car. Tuning this way, you can do it with the two-wheel drive Bandits and you can do it with the 7 scales. I've never been into the street eliminators and stuff, but I'm pretty sure you would use the same stuff the same way. So let's not waste more time. Let's get into this video. Alright y'all, so the first thing we're going to do is talk about the throttle curves, because to understand the acceleration you need to know about your throttle curve first. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go into your Futaba remote. You want to go over to racing menu, curve. So we're going to go to throttle curve. Okay, so as you see this little box right here, I know it's kind of hard to see on the screen. It goes 0, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. So I have the same thing right here on this paper, so I can kind of show and draw y'all it out so it's easier to understand and see. So as you can see right now, we have our throttle curve on 0, and it's got a linear line up to 100. So it's like gradually increasing up to 100. That's normal. That's how all cars like come stock. When you have a stock remote or whatever, that's how it'll be. So say for instance you want to take you want to get more takeoff. So what you can do is you want to go here to where it says 0, and you can add it up. So you see how when you turn it up, it makes, we gotta let the camera focus, it makes that line that was normally from corner to corner as like a slope. It goes really up and then it curves over. So just to give y'all a better example, instead of it originally going across just like this from 0 to 100, increasing all the same, say for instance you want to turn your throttle curve up to 20. So that would be like, this is when your car right here is just at a halt, it's sitting at the line, you're not doing nothing. If you put your throttle curve up to 20, it's, say, I gotta figure out how to hold this thing in tight. So say we're going up to 20, so our throttle curve is still gonna start at 0, and then it's gonna increase up to 20 really fast, and then go back into the gradually increase to 100. Is what doing that's gonna do is, if you set your car, and we'll demonstrate this later in the video, if you set your car and it's still on 0 and you hit the gas, it's just going to do like this. Of course it's going to move, but I'm saying it's just going to move normal. If you set it to 20 and then you tap the gas, as soon as you hit the gas and it leaves 0, it's going up to 20 quick, and then it's gradually increasing up to 100. So that's going to give you more like hit whenever you go to leave or take off with your car. Same thing over here. So we got 0, and then of course we'd be starting at 0, and say for this time we want to go up here to 40 right there. So your car is sitting at the line right here on 0. When you mash the trigger, it's gonna ramp up to 40 really quick, and then go back to 100 gradually, just like this. And this is just another way of tuning it, because that is like adding the numbers and going up. You can also go down and basically make the throttle curve be backwards. So you'd be starting at 100, and it normally looks like this over here, but this time it would be like, say, 20, 40, 60, 80, and then 100, like that. So then if you were doing it with a negative curve, you would be starting here at 0 on your line, on the line, and then when you hit the gas, say you had your negative curve at, we'll go right here in the middle at about, we'll say 30. So that means it would go, instead of going up like it does over here, it would it would be a slower takeoff and gradually give you the power until it got to 20 negative, and then it would go back up to 100 normally like it does over here. I know that's kind of hard to understand, and I'm hoping whenever we go do the demonstrations later in this video, it'll help y'all see it a little bit better. But I know it's hard to understand. I've spent a lot of time talking with friends, and just through my time of drag racing, learning about the two different ones, I kind of just not that long ago got the actual clear definition of what the differences is between the two and what they do. So throttle curve, all you're doing with your throttle curve, like we were saying, if you have it like this, which is how it's going to come stock, you just start down to 0, and you got a normal, you got the same increase up to 100. If you turn it up, that means you're going to start with a little more power, jump up to 20, 40, or wherever you put it. Like on this one, we put it to 20. So that means from 0 to 20, it's going to ramp up really fast and then gradually increase normal to 100. And the same thing over here, since you got it at 0 and you're going to 40, that means it's going to take off even harder, because it's going to be a little bit longer it takes for it to ramp up quick to 40, and then it's going to gradually increase to 100. The acceleration is a little bit different, but kind of the same. I'm going to tell you the difference in just a second. Okay, y'all, so now for the acceleration. Like I said, it is kind of the same, but it's also not. But it still comes very handy when racing and doing, you know. So the next thing, so now to find acceleration, you want to get out of this. You can go back to the user menu and then keep going. Oh, we passed it. There it is, acceleration. So brake, don't mess with that. I've never messed with that. I don't know what the brake does. The forward acceleration on the remote, all you're going to see is acceleration at the top, a line that says forward, and a box that you could turn the number up and down. There's no graph or anything that like you see with the throttle curve, but all you have to do is imagine the same graph that's on the throttle curve in your head, because it's basically using the same method. It's on the same thing pretty much, and you're almost doing the same thing, but here's the difference right here. So like on the throttle curve, how you start at 0 and then gradually increase to 100, or if you change it to a number, you start at 0, you increase fast to the number that you put in on the throttle curve, and then you gradually increase to 100. On the acceleration, it's kind of the same, but here's the difference. When your car is sitting at the line, it's always going to be on 0, of course. You're not using your remote. So say for instance, we want more like oomph whenever it's going to take off. You want more power to just all initially hit as soon as you take off and you pull the trigger. This is where the acceleration comes real in handy. So it's the same thing. You got your 0 on there, and just say for instance we come over here to the remote and we punch in 20 to the forward acceleration on the remote. So is what that's going to do is that's basically taking our throttle curve and cutting out 0 and starting here straight at 100. I mean straight at 20. So whenever you pull your trigger with your acceleration on 20 on the remote, it's going to go from 20, and then gradually it's going to start hard at 20 and then gradually increase up to 100. So you're not going to be starting at 0 no more, really. The whole throttle curve is basically starting at 20 with 20% power or speed, whatever you want to call it, and then that's going to make your car like shoot out harder. But it also can make you spin more, so you got to adjust everything and get it all ready for all this stuff. So another example, so let's say we decide we want to put our forward acceleration on 50. Now that will make your car, as soon as you touch the trigger, it's going to want to go big time, like boom, boom. Or if you're doing a basher, I guarantee you, if you got it on a basher like an Arma Creighton and you put the acceleration on 50 and you just tap the gas, you'll be wanting to pop wheelies. Now that we put our remote on acceleration on 50, so we got 40 and 60 right here. So this is where 50 will be about. And again, remember, it doesn't show you this on the remote, but it's still basically the same concept of what's happening. So, say for instance over here, we got our, well, we don't, not for instance. So now we have our remote on 50 acceleration. So that means when you're sitting at the line, your remote's already pretty much sitting on 50. So as soon as you hit the gas, it's skipping all this right here. It's skipping 0 to 40 and immediately putting it at 50 and launching you with 50% power. And then after the 50, it'll gradually bring you up to 100, just like the other ones. So to give y'all one more example, so say we have our throttle curve on this one. We got our throttle curve on 40. And just to show y'all, this is going to be a little bit more like curved like this. This is rough. This is just an idea of how it works. So say we're on this one right here and we got our throttle curve on 40. So we over here, but we have on our acceleration, we have our throttle curve on 60. That's pretty much too high, so I'm just giving random numbers here. I wouldn't go putting this stuff in your car. You might break something. But 60 is high, just letting y'all know. So, like I was saying, so we got our throttle curve on 40 and we got our acceleration on 60. So it's basically what's going to happen is your remote is going to skip all the kind of, gradually increasing up to 40, and it's going to basically just start at 60 and launch out at 60, and then after 60 it'll gradually increase to the 100. But you see what's happening is you're starting higher up in the throttle curve with the acceleration. Then with the throttle curve you just start at 0 and then gradually either increase the speed faster to 100 or increase it down, which is slower, to 100. And of course, the whole reason you're doing all that is because you're wanting to stay gripping. You want to launch out with as much power as possible, but also you want to launch out with enough that you stay gripping, because if you stop gripping, you're losing speed, losing time, and probably going to lose the race. So that's going to be it on this little how-to on how to use acceleration and throttle curve. So now we're going to go out with probably the Creighton, and I'll show y'all like it actually working with the car and what happens when you change the stuff on the remote. So let's not waste more time. Here we go. All right, y'all, so it's the next day and we're out here with the Creighton, and I'm going to show y'all a little demonstration on what the throttle curve can do and the acceleration. I think it'll be easier to see the differences on this car than actually showing you on the Bandit, but if you guys want to see a video when I actually do the changes to the Bandit, let me know in the comments. Alright, y'all, so the first thing we talked about was the throttle curve. So on the first one that we were talking about, you see how it's linear straight from 0 to the 100. So we're going to give it an up curve, and like I showed y'all, it'll make it kind of bend up like that. And hold up, so I should have showed y'all first with it on 0. Now show the car. It's on 0. Okay, so it's on 0, and I'm just gonna, you see how it's jumping like that? So watch what happens when we take the curve and we're going to put it up. Now we're going to put a big one. Don't do this high in racing. Make sure you try it first. But so we're on 80, and I'm going to hit the trigger the same way we did before and watch the difference. Oh! See what I'm saying? We'll do it one more time. I'm just hitting it the same way. And everything.
So everything engages way quicker. Now the same thing will happen if you do a negative curve. Well, not the same thing, the opposite will happen. So now we're back to it not wheeling that easy. We had to hit it kind of hard for it to wheelie there. So now we're gonna go with a negative curve. We'll do the same thing. Oh, negative 80. Alright, now watch. Everything's going to be a lot less responsive. That was actually more responsive than it should have been. But... So watch my finger. I'm going to hold it down. We'll bring it back first. So watch my finger. I'm going to hold it down. Oh! It's still engaged quicker than I thought. But as you can see, you get a little bit of lag. It's kind of hard to see. But if you guys mess with your remote, you'll see what I'm talking about. So one more thing. So now we're going to put that back to 0. And I was showing y'all the acceleration. So the acceleration, we got the curve back on 0. And this is taking off. It's wheeling like that. So now I'm going to show y'all what acceleration do. Now this is going to basically put us into our throttle curves this again, but instead of starting at 0 and ramping up, we're going to be starting at whatever number you put this on. So we'll say we're going to start it on, we'll go 40. I hope I don't break nothing. So we're going to start on 40. So that's basically skipping 0 through 39 on the throttle curve and starting us right at 40. See, everything, it just skips it. We're starting right at 40. Whenever the power engages, it's at 40%. So now one more, we'll go even higher, and it should be even more touchy and responsive. That's crazy, 100. I'm wheeling with just doing this.